What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined always by my main man, Jacob Punturi. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers, their offseason plan seems to be laid out in front of us, at least free agency wise. And I think it's the perfect day as we prepare for the NFL Combine to dive into who the Steelers will add in the three positions that they are predicted to do so. If we got time, we'll talk some Aaron Rodgers, but you know what I'm saying? We've talked a lot of Aaron Rodgers. It's a beautiful one out here in the Berg. Shout out to Team USA, who is winning as of the time that we went live, I believe. I hope so. Still up. Yep. We're going to take that as a compliment. USA, USA, USA. It's a windy one here in the Berg, but it's a good time. How you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling good. And the USA is still up. 20 more minutes to go, the most important 20 minutes. So we'll check in for updates as we move through the episode. But, I'm doing great. It's feeling like a summer day here, the summer that I like, whereas it's not too warm. So it's a good day. It's a short stay for Jacob. How can you complain when it's a short stay in February? And one more show, then we're doing this from a little city called Indianapolis. So, exciting stuff.
You're not wrong and almost accurate in that statement. Shout out my guy. We will be going live Monday morning before we hit the road.
So one more besides this, but
same thing, dude. We are 3 days away from Indy, a nice 6-hour road trip. The best. I know that your wife isn't allowing you, not allowing you, but you guys are being health conscious as you prepare for a child. Okay. Tori, if you're listening, he's either going to suffer through this and watch me eat the most delicious fast food in the world, or he's going to be eating some Culver's milkshakes and burgers here, my friend, on the way to Indianapolis. I'm excited for it all. I'm excited for it all.
What you got to do for work. You know what they say.
When it's going on the company card, you gotta take what's given sometimes. It's what they say. Before we get out there, Jerry Dulac gave us a little something to talk about here. He dove into the Pittsburgh Steelers free agency and predicted three positions that he thinks they are going to sign when things kick off on March 11th. For those of you who don't know, the tampering period starts March 9th. The actual free agency starts March 11th. That's technically when guys can sign, but everybody knows most of these guys have deals in place after the 9th. Things get crazy real fast. His three positions: defensive tackle, offensive guard, and cornerback, for the Steelers to go out there and grab. And I think it's the perfect time, not just to dive into what we think here, but predict who is going to end up in Pittsburgh at these positions if the Pittsburgh Steelers really are looking to add there before or during free agency. We'll break them down each: defensive tackle, offensive guard, and corner. I've got a bunch of options for all. The classes are deep, but overall, before we dive into anything, what are your thoughts here on these positions? Do you agree that this could be the three big ones that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going after?
I think it's a totally fair group for Jerry to put out there. I did find it to be a little bit surprising to include defensive tackle, right? Just making sure I didn't do anything wrong on my list preparation for today. But while I've certainly talked a ton about the need to improve from the line of scrimmage out on the defensive end, the free agency route is kind of what surprised me in terms of how they are going about upgrading it. We've talked a lot and we'll continue to talk about some defensive linemen that are going to be available in the upcoming draft. I would be more inclined to lean on them, to look forward to them to improve the defensive line. But that being said, there are several veterans out there who can provide varying roles, whether it's rotational players or maybe a plug-and-play starter, who the Steelers could go after with this $45 million of salary cap space. So aside from that little bit of a surprise, I completely agree. Offensive line, especially on the interior on the left side, is a huge need, and so is finding a number 2 cornerback alongside Joey Porter Jr. So if you have some money to play with, I'd say those are 2 great positions to go after. A little surprise there on the defensive tackle.
I am too. I take it more as like replace Daniel Iguale, Isaiah Loudermilk, those types of guys. The the depth pieces so that Y.A. Black could be the primary guy, and then you get somebody else. But there are some actually pretty interesting names out there that I think the Steelers could go after. I feel a lot of the same, though. The opportunities are just there for the Steelers, and it's about taking care of opportunities when they're presented to you in certain areas. This team has a lot of holes, and you're going to fill a good chunk of those holes, but you can only fill some of them in the NFL draft. And it makes sense to go some ways in the NFL draft compared to others because of just the long-term value. Also, like how close you are to completing a group. You go after a guard that's 25, 26 years old instead of drafting someone. Maybe your offensive line is pretty close to done at the end of this offseason, and you feel pretty good about it. So I'm not off, but I agree with you on defensive tackle is weird. I just think that it's more of a lesser name, smaller role player that they're going to go after. And maybe it's just Jerry hinting that things aren't going to get real crazy in free agency if the Pittsburgh Steelers have it their way. Mm-hmm. Let's start with defensive tackle. Lots of names on this list. I got 3 of them that I think the Steelers could look after in different degrees. I'll start with the biggest one because I kind of want to get a baseline, and then I'll let you say your names, and then, we'll go from there. DJ Reader, longtime starter in the NFL. I think a really good player, potentially out of the price range of the Pittsburgh Steelers for what they're looking for. But also, your defensive line could never be good enough, ever. And the Steelers certainly are a team that know that. Patrick Graham is a defensive line guy. Too high on the totem pole, a DJ Reader in your eyes?
Well, I think he's on my list. I'll start with that. So he's clearly someone who's, on my radar. I view him maybe a little bit differently than you do. And that is, I think, to the Steelers' benefit. I see him more as at this point, a rotational player, 31 years old, certainly can plug up some gaps, but I'm not counting on him to play 75% of the snaps along the defensive front or anything like that. I'm okay with overpaying a little bit for a veteran defensive line. What's the right word here? Not replacement, but rotational player, situational player. There were moments where a player like a Larry Ogunjobi was maybe a little bit overpaid, but provided a veteran spark at times. If he could do that, I like that name a lot. But I think my expectations for someone like DJ Reader and another player on my list who we'll get to in it momentarily is more in line with what sort of Jerry might have been throwing out there, where they're pieces that can help in certain situations. They can help in specific run packages. They can help expand certain pass coverages and things like that. But aside from that, I don't think I'm looking at any huge impact players. One, potentially, but I think he might be on both of our lists as well.
Okay. I'll toss you my other 2, and then I'll let you do your name. Number 2 here, a return. The return of one maybe toeless Larry Ogunjobi, who practiced a little, played a lot, and honestly was the perfect role player at the time when he left, because Larry O comes on and makes a couple of good plays and then gets off the field and it's great. But instead he was playing starter minutes or starter reps, and that's just, quite frankly, not what he's built to do at this point in his career. And the Steelers have better options. Larry O is going to be super cheap after the PDE thing last offseason and comes in here ready to go. And I don't know, man. Maybe Larry O is a 32-year-old or 31 turning 32-year-old who could be a role player, could be that veteran guy who plays very little but makes a decent impact. To me, I think we might be overlooking a guy who is an easy answer for the Steelers, who knows Cam, who knows Keanu, who could come in here and maybe have a decent role. Small role, but a reliable role with the Steelers.
I think I'm vehemently against that, if I'm being perfectly honest. Again, and as I mentioned, I did not, folks, to be completely transparent, Noah and I did not talk about our lists before coming on here. So I mentioned Larry O as a comparison to DJ Reader, totally unaware that this was somebody who was on Noah's list. But I mentioned him in the past as a comparable in the past for a reason. I do not see him being anything other than just the 53rd man on the roster at this point. He's going to be 32, like you said, before the season begins. You had to deal with the injuries, availability issues in general. I loved it a couple years ago. I'm very low on this idea right now heading into the 2026 season. I think there are guys, again, who you can just bring in for a couple of plays. And if you are just looking for somebody to come in and maybe make a play, well, I mean, Logan Lee made one play against the Baltimore Ravens, and
He
he's
did.
6 years younger. So maybe you could just give a spot to that, save any sort of money. Not that Ogunjobi would be expensive. I
I was
agree
gonna
with you
say
about that, but
$10 and a Dr.
I'd
Pepper or
rather
something.
I got a 30 rack of Dr. Peasies in the house, or would you like these? But I would pass on that.
All right. All right. How about this third one? This third one's my favorite one. I think it honestly fits what the Steelers could be looking for. I don't foresee anybody coming in here and being like a massive piece to the defensive line, but just a quality rotation piece. And quite frankly, like you run into places all the time where, especially on the defensive line in Pittsburgh, where you're talking about how the depth is low and guys get beat up and hurt and so on and so forth. I got one for you. Chris Tonga, defensive tackle, New England Patriots, 8 starts last season, 29 years old, turning 30, maybe that perfect sweet spot of an age where he's no longer looking for a big contract, just looking for a role, but he's a reliable veteran, a dude who had 29 tackles last year, 2 pass deflections. I think an overlooked name in this defensive tackle class, but somebody who could come in here and maybe be a better Dean Lowry than what the Steelers had in Dean Lowry 2 years ago. Maybe a better Daniel Ikuwale this season. I think Chris Tonga could play in the middle, adds a veteran presence, obviously comes off a Super Bowl run. Maybe my favorite name on my list, at least, is my favorite name, potentially my favorite name out there completely. What's your thoughts?
Hey, yeah, you say overlooked. He's not overlooked by this podcast, apparently, because he's the number one guy on my list as well. Simply because of the schematic fit. He's a true nose tackle, right? Like, I do not know what modifications Patrick Graham is going to introduce into this 3-4 and how much they will stick to that base defense versus how much they will stray away from it. But what I do know is that Chris Tonga is a pure nose tackle. The dude can just absorb a center and guard combination. They don't, you have this guy in YA Black who is becoming a very prominent player. You have Derek Harmon. You still have Keanu Benton and Cam Hayward, presumably. I don't think you need another guy who's going to take up snaps from any of those players, but you need someone who could just sort of supplement them in certain situations. Chris Tonga is a veteran name that I would be very, very happy to see them acquire and to bring into the Pittsburgh Steelers.
For sure. For sure. All right. That's my 3. Defensive tackle. Who do you got?
Well, 2 of them we already talked about, Chris Tonga and DJ Reader, but mine was my explanation for Reader was, as we got to, more about the rotational expectations that he could bring in as a substitute and as a bench depth player. One other name that I think fits that exact sort of bill, but even on a lesser level, 30-year-old Sebastian Joseph Day, who I think is just a big-bodied nose tackle. He played with the Tennessee Titans last year, and again, I think provides something very similar to what a Chris Tonga would bring, in that he is a pure nose tackle. He got reps behind Jeffrey Simmons in Tennessee. He's not going to do anything extraordinary. He's not going to be a game breaker, but you need a guy to come in here and take snaps, to be a Daniel Ikuwale, to be a Dean Lowry type player who is more traditionally a fit for the 3-4 scheme. I think you got a guy there who you can get very cheaply and who you could add to this team and would actually bring something tangible, like helping the run defense.
I love that, dude. I love Sebastian Day. I think he's just such a reliable veteran in the NFL. I have heard his name so many times, but he's also played with so many guys that, you talk to anybody across the league and his name comes up a bunch, actually. It's real surprising how much he is just a well-known person for his work ethic and his leadership, and obviously his actual play on the field. Has taken steps backwards, I believe, over the last 2 years to a place where, in terms of like age, in a place where he is more comfortable in that backup rotation role. I think it fits him perfectly. Truthfully, to me, that is a fantastic name. He's older though, right? 30, 34?
He's 30.
He's
30.
only 30 years old.
Yeah, I believe he'll turn 31 before the season begins, but yeah,
That
he's
is
going to turn
ridiculous.
31.
That's crazy. That's so
But
crazy,
hey,
actually.
again, that's what, it's a cheap addition. It's going to be someone who just brings a very specific skill set here, but it's a big body, and he's a Super Bowl champion too at that with the Los Angeles Rams. So,
True.
get a little bit of more winning culture around these guys. It can't hurt.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, that's your defensive tackles, right? That was your list of 3. Do you have more?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, I love it. Let's go
That's
guard.
all I got.
Let's go guard. And I will let you go first since I stole half of your list last time. Very excited for this, though.
Very hurt by that. Thankfully, I have 5 options for
Hold
guard.
up, dude. I have 4. What are the chances that I'm just excited. I'm just excited to see what
pumped.
this is.
I anticipate them being very similar. I'll throw out at least. Let's start with the best option, in my opinion, or best. Yeah, the best of the bunch. I think there is a player who was not a superstar by any means in his previous team, but has played a ton of snaps, has not allowed a lot of sacks, and can adapt into a run-heavy scheme, I would guess. And I'm talking about Zion Johnson from the Los Angeles Chargers, 26-year-old left guard. Interior offensive lineman is the number 1 need, right? Like you gotta, again, nothing exceptional, but this guy has been through it. He's been reliable. So I'll take that. Might cost you a little bit, but I think for a guy who's 26 and can be here for a few years, you get a very quality left guard to pair with the right side. And then you can address the left tackle position somewhere else, in the draft. You delay it a year, who knows? But I think that he would be a player that I'm going to keep an eye on for sure, and that I'm anticipating being connected in some way to the Steelers. Was he on your list, my friend?
He was not, actually, and he just missed my list for another name that I'm curious if you enter or if you add. But I love Zion Johnson. I think he was really good coming out of college and has not had the success that I think many expected him to have. But I also know that Zion Johnson's biggest thing coming out of college was how damn smart he was. And if you're able to bring that to Pittsburgh and work with maybe a new coaching staff, maybe a young offensive line that can grow together, maybe you can pick up on the pieces and develop into that. Plus, only being 26 years old, he's got his whole career ahead of him. You could take a shot on this guy. And what's best is you could take a shot on this guy and compete him with Spencer Anderson, and say, these are 2 young guys. Who's the best of the bunch? Do we have a starter? And I think that works. I love Zion Johnson. I think that's a great start here.
Heck yeah. I'm curious who the first choice you have is, if this is where I'm starting from. So where are we starting from in your mind?
This is where you're starting from? This is your best option here? I'm actually so curious then. You got to go finish this and give me your list of, you can give me your whole list if you want. That's okay with me.
I'll give you my whole list, right? And I think this is the best of the bunch because I don't think they're going to spend a ton of money on an interior offensive lineman. So the other 4 players I have on my list are nice little veteran swap. Joel Bitonio, he's going to retire, but I'm going to keep my hopes up. Replace Ciamali with another veteran who has been there, done that. Another Cleveland Browns player, Tevin Jenkins.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's get into it here. Over a Wyatt Teller?
Listen, I think this is where it just kind of gets into a situation where it's just like take a penny, leave a penny situation. You know what I mean? Like between someone like Wyatt Teller, because I also, to ruin the surprise here, 2 other names I have are veterans in Dalton Risner, who was with the Cleveland or Cincinnati Bengals last year, and Connor McGovern, who was a center with the Buffalo Bills last year, but I think you could ask him to play left guard.
Steelers loved him in free agency last year.
Lot of veterans. I think they're kind of like, it's dime a dozen. You can just pick one, take one. So while these are the 5 I have, I don't think Wyatt Teller is a bad pick at all.
Okay. I like that. I love Tevin Jenkins. I think that's a good name. I think, Cleveland's offensive line has always been good. Their interior offensive line's good. They're just kind of a little too stacked, but they're going to lose literally everybody. Tevin Jenkins to me is a good one. Let me give you my name
too.
And he's 27, which I love, which is better than Wyatt Teller for sure. Joel Bitonio is on my list, or Joel Bitonio, excuse me. Wyatt Teller is also on my list. My other 2 options are young, but I think in a different direction, guys who I don't think have matched the potential, but I think have the potential. John Simpson out of New York with the Jets. Don't think that guy is anywhere near as good as he played in New York, or the offensive line played in New York. I think the upside there is still strong. The other one, Dylan Runduns, out of New Orleans. 27 years old, has been in the league for what feels like centuries here, has started almost every game he's played. I just feel like not the worst option for a young guy that's probably going to be cheap. I think John Simpson's going to be ridiculously cheap, but I think he does have so much upside. But I like Tevin Jenkins, dude. I like Tevin Jenkins a lot.
I like what you're throwing out here. You're taking a huge risk. You go with anybody who played with the New York Jets, right? Like you are. I know you got a soft spot for some guys like Justin Fields. I know we want to believe that the curse of the New York Jets is just a bit stronger than the individual. I'm reluctant to take a swing on a player like John Simpson and put all of my faith in him. But like you mentioned here, regarding anyone who might be brought in, they have this guy named Spencer Anderson who's going to be a factor, going to be a big piece of the entire conversation, who starts at left guard anyways. Ray Nuz, however you say it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great underrated, overlooked option. And I think honestly, I think Zion Johnson will be the pick. I think he's probably a little bit more expensive than most teams would like. You can pivot very easily to a guy like Dylan Rayboons, and it would be a great situation.
I agree. All right. The third position here is good old corner. And I got some good ones, to be really honest with you. What's your list consist of? How many names?
I have 6.
6 names?
I think I feel really good about 3 of them.
Okay. Okay.
They're all veterans.
I have 4. I feel good about 2. I feel like 1 is going to end up in Pittsburgh. I feel like 1 is a good option, but the Steelers are going to overlook them. Okay.
Okay.
Where do
I'll concede you.
Give me. All right. I'll go first. We'll start best name, not best fit, best name on the list. Okay. I'll give you mine. Okay. Greg Newsome. Former Brown, former fighting George Pickens, that dude is only 25 years old, and he's really good, okay? He's really good. I'm sorry. I like Greg Newsome. I liked Greg Newsome in Cleveland. I liked Greg Newsome when he was coming out of college. I think Greg Newsome has so much talent, and yeah, he loves to talk, but so what? Put him on the right team, and he's no longer a villain. He's a hero. That's what I love about Greg Newsome. 4 interceptions over the last 5 years. Playing in Cleveland, overlooked by Denzel Ward, isn't going to get a massive contract because he's been overlooked his whole career. Why he was traded out of Cleveland blows my mind. Just the Browns is the Browns. The Steelers could take advantage. My top name is Greg Newsome, and I think there's a distance between my second best name.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. I think there's a lot of dots to connect here in terms of Greg Newsome and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, always been around in some ways, have a lot of experience playing against him. Sure, he's not on my list, and he would not be the best player on mine, because I think the best player on my list is definitively Nahshon Wright, cornerback from the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
Another 27 years old, which is why he's number 1 and the best on my list. Also, I believe he's 6'4" as well.
He's massive.
I love this idea of 2 massive corners on the outside. I think I said the exact same thing yesterday talking about the secondary. Joey Porter Jr. and Nahshon Wright as your number 2, as your top 2 corners, excuse me. I'm loving where your secondary is starting from. So he's number 1 on my list, and I think he is considerably better than the other veterans that I have also on this list. And again, I have several more, but 2 that I feel good about. He says 6'5".
5? No, he's 6'4", 5 interceptions last year, which is
he had a great
Wild
Great
year.
year on the ball.
Did
Great.
nothing before that. Nothing.
Yes.
Has done nothing in his career. Okay, but first healthy year. I like that. All right. Next, give me the most likely name on your list.
You're
gonna hate mine.
I think the most likely one on this list. Oh, that is a very tough question because I'm truly torn. I want to go with Alontae Taylor, cornerback from the New Orleans Saints.
Good name.
I think he just makes a lot of sense. He's not complicated, can do a lot of things well. Would be a nice number 2, a very complimentary number 2 in the way that like Dante Jackson was that first year with the Steelers. You know what I mean? Like nothing exceptional. He and Jamel Dean from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the 2 guys that I feel like make the most sense in terms of getting a veteran that can just come in, you can be confident in him, but you also can add via the draft and have another young player kind of learning behind those 2. So those are the next 2 guys on my list. Curious, I'll throw it back to you what you have for that same question.
You're going to hate this, dude. You are going to hate this answer. Trayvon Diggs is my most likely player to end up in Pittsburgh. And do you want to know why? Because we are overlooking the one thing that cannot be overlooked this offseason. The one thing that Mike McCarthy is shoving in our faces more than he's shoving anything, including the quarterback nonsense. I was the guy who made Joe Montana fantastic. No, that's not what he's saying all the time. What he's saying all the time is, do I know you? Have we ever had a cup of coffee together? You are joining the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you want to know who drafted Trayvon Diggs in Dallas in 2020 and who was there when he had 11 interceptions in 2021 as his head coach? Mike McCarthy. You want to know who signed Trayvon Diggs to a massive contract extension? Mike McCarthy. You want to know who's got a new opportunity for a really cheap guy who is only 27 years old to bring him back and pair him with Joey Porter Jr. and Jalen Ramsey? Mike McCarthy. Trayvon Diggs. That's my guy. I'm not excited about it. I'm just saying most likely. It's disgustingly true how likely this might be.
Oh, buddy, that's true. I hate when you say things that like unlock a door and I'm like, oh, that's going to happen. That's correct. Yeah. And I hate it. I hate that option. Yeah. I think, listen, there is, in a very similar way that there is good reason to have doubts about a player like Nahshon Wright, there's very good reason to have doubts about Trayvon Diggs at this point.
Yeah.
Can he prove, the doubters wrong? Of course. And I think it would be an incredible redemption arc. You're taking a big risk. And again, I think my list and the candidates I have sort of proposed here reflect that I think they need to find somebody who is a little bit more consistent and reliable rather than take the risk that could have a huge reward, but also just sort of blow up spectacularly in their faces. So I think you have a great point. I hate it.
Hate it. It's the worst idea ever. You're playing GM. You're going to have to sign. Give me 3 names: defensive tackle, corner, and guard that you sign. And you say, damn, dude, I crushed it this offseason.
Are you asking me to rate that out of 10?
No. You are GM. You go out, you sign 1 guard, 1 defensive tackle, 1 corner, and you're going home to your wife going, smoked it. You'll never even believe the day I had in the office. Handed out millions. Crushed it.
Don't know what I heard the first time you asked that question. We would be Chris Tonga. You solve your defensive line depth. Zion Johnson. You solve your interior offensive line issue, and Nahshon Wright. You get your number 2 cornerback. And you don't even spend all of that available cap or even come close to it, in my opinion. So I'm going home looking and feeling like a frugal MFer, while also getting the job done.
I love it. My 3 would be, I think you convinced me on Zion Johnson. I love that name. I think that's, fits the bill. Tevin Tevin Jenkins, I think he got me there too over Wyatt Teller. The age thing kind of struck me. I would go Zion Johnson as well. I would go Chris Tonga as well. And I'd be telling the whole world Greg Newsome's going to talk so much smack, dude. So much. We're manning up the world.
I love that.
And then he's going to talk so much shit in the process. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. All right. Shout out to Jerry Dulac for this one. This was a fun episode. That's everything on our agenda. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of it, we're going to start answering all your questions. So toss them in the chat. We'll be right back.
Pittsburgh, this one's for you. From the voices behind all Steelers talk comes Black and Gold apparel, your go-to for bold, fan-driven merch that reps the city, the Steelers, and everything in between. Whether you bleed black and gold or just love that Pittsburgh grit, we've got something for you. It's more than a podcast. It's a community. And thanks to your support, we're proud to bring the passion from our mics to your closets. Gear up, stand out, and show the world what real fans look like. Shop now at blackandgoldapparel.myshopify.com.
All righty. Shout out to our members. Shout out to our super chatters. And first off, I want to take a quick moment and just say appreciate all y'all who are pushing through the abyss with us here. It's a good time. It's a good time. You really do notice it. I mean, our live streams go from like 800 people to like 300 people, and we see y'all. We see y'all in the chat. We appreciate you every single day.
We love the support.
It's fun.
I'd talk to two of you if you came to watch.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I want to give a shout out. I think it's well earned, and I want you guys to know that we really appreciate y'all. We really, really appreciate y'all. All right, let's get it.
How do you make a heart? Are you old? Are you one of those?
You want to know how I
like makes a heart? That's how I do it too. Yeah. That's not my little sister who's cool because she's like a teenager. Yeah. Does it? They do it like that way.
It's way too much going on there.
Yeah.
Way too much.
And I'm like, no.
It's like the people who used to like do the things where their like fingers would touch like upside down or something. Though.
Are you double jointed?
No, that's disgusting.
Yeah. For anyone just listening, I'm able to make a sort of an oval shape with my middle and index fingers. And you can find more of that on my Only Fingers page.
Shout out. All right, let's get into it here. If you got questions, toss them in the chat. We'll get to as many of them as we can before we head out of here. Schuleberg, love the podcast. Appreciate you. The name though, you're going through it still, brother. And you know what I mean? We're living here one day at a time. One day.
Maybe that's Chris.
That'd be awesome, dude. Huge fan of the show. That's what I hear.
He's still upset about it.
That's what I hear, dude. Nate Moore. Who would you prefer out of the Colts wide receivers, Alec Pierce or Michael Pittman Jr.?
Ooh,
I think this is a fun
question.
I was going to say, I think a year ago compared to today, this is a really fun question to ask.
Yeah, I agree because the answer is different. Because a year ago, it's easily Michael Pittman. This year, I think it's easily Alec Pierce.
I don't know about easily, but yeah, for sure. For sure.
I mean, when he's healthy, Pierce just is like a guy who just gets open, you know?
I agree. But he's banged up.
The dude gets injured a ton. Yeah. And sometimes that is just like an inescapable curse throughout someone's career. So like, I don't know. You're taking a risk for sure, but I don't know. I love his game. I would pick him.
I mean, I would pick him too. I think the injury things come into both sides, and I think Alec Pierce has a brighter future. And I think fits the Steelers for like a physical wide receiver that could work three layers. To me, Michael Pittman's really good. He's kind of turning into I don't want to say one trick pony, but because he's not, but like he is at the same time. You know what I mean? He's
never had that like breakaway speed. You know,
no, that's what I mean.
There's something. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on that for sure. Injuries have, I think, been much more detrimental to Michael Pittman than to Alec Pierce, and I think this little conversation is evidence of that.
Yeah, I agree. Ryville, from the running back talk yesterday, Jordan Mason, yay or nay? I don't know if Jordan Mason is a free agent, but I will look it up.
Okay.
But I do like Jordan Mason when healthy. I don't know how healthy he ever is going to be because he can't seem to stay healthy. Jordan Mason.
I do not know the answer to this question, but my My question is, was he healthy in college? Is this
True.
not that it makes a difference, just something I'm curious about in this entire conversation, because I do think there's something to his game that I think could be very complimentary to Jaylen Warren. And so
I agree.
great suggestion from Rival here. Not sure. Is he a free agency? Did we get clarification?
No,
on that?
one more year on his contract. I do like him as that number 2, though. I think he's personally going to surpass Aaron Jones and become the number 1 in Minnesota this year. That's what I think is going to happen. And then
that is the trend usually up there.
Yeah. Usually, I do like that name though a lot. Duff, get in line, Maddie. Months ago, I asked if I could make a monthly international appearance to give a Canadian perspective. It's because everybody's pounding the table for Maddie to get in here. Appreciate you guys. You guys are hilarious.
You guys are great. Our international correspondent, Duff.
Maddie, did you try it out, Noah? Also, Nate put me onto the app, so shout out to him. What are the chances William Brisker and or Nakobe Dean? Haven't checked it out yet. I hit up Maddie to find out what that app is that she was using for the GM thing.
Thing's cool.
It is cool, dude. It's gonna be my whole weekend. So appreciate you. Shout out to Nate. What are the chances they land Brisker and Nakobe Dean? I honestly think pretty high. Like, I'm sorry, but I think that you're nuts if you're not going after at least one of these positions in free agency. To me, it's not super difficult to go out there and just find a starter at either one. And those guys are names that should be high on everybody's list who needs a starting inside linebacker and or safety.
Yeah, I think, yes, Jaquan Brisker for sure just feels like he's going to be a target and a top target at that for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you put him and lump any other guy together, ask an and/or question. It feels very likely. I just did a Puntori's playbook on this too. I'm a little bit lower on Nakobe Dean and how the Steelers are going to go after him. But I think, again, they have so much money to play with. You could go and give him that $13 to $15 million a year, that Patrick Queen like deal. You can go give Jaquan Brisker, enough money to entice him off the market and still be able to address the other the other three positions that we mentioned earlier in the show. So you got to just be aggressive. And if it means getting both of those players, I'm about it.
Yeah, for sure. Isaiah, aren't the Steelers more likely to move up? Are the Steelers more likely to move up or down in this year's draft? There's so many holes and more picks would fix that, but they move up for a wide receiver. I think that they are more likely to move up in the first 3 rounds. I could see them moving up in any of the 3 or all of 3, to be really honest. But I would say up is way more likely. I think there's almost no chance they move down in the draft. Honestly, unless you're getting a first round pick next year somehow, I don't think it makes any sense to move backwards. Like, what are you doing? Getting another 3rd round pick? How many 3rd round picks you really need? They don't work out for you anyways. Just use them and trade up.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. There's only one scenario I can think of where there's any reason to trade down in the first round or really anything, and that is that every good wide receiver possible went in the first 15 picks. So you're just like, well, we can't get a starting number 2 wide receiver at 21, but we can probably get any other position. So if we need to move back 2 or 3 to get another pick to then trade up again in rounds 2 or rounds 3, which is where I truly anticipate them to be the most active. I think they're going to stand very pat, very firm at 21. 53, I think, is very much in play to move up from. And then you get into all the 3rd round picks. And, all in all, we're talking about 5 picks in the first 100. So I anticipate them moving up very aggressively after the first 32 picks to get the players that they're targeting.
Yeah. Duff, no, send Nate Moore my highlight, because in the chat today, he said he could. I would love to see a little 1v1 action. Let's get it going here, guys. Let's get it going for sure. Nate's on the other end of this one. What are the odds Patrick Graham can unlock something in Y.A. Black and transform him into a full-time starter at nose tackle? I hope you want to know my biggest hope with Patrick Graham is not that he turns Y.A. Black into a nose tackle. It's that he doesn't have this weird bias that Keanu Benton has to be the nose tackle or he's just not a part of the defense, because that opens the door for Y.A. Black and everybody else who probably should be playing there over Keanu Benton. And I think Y.A. Black's a really good 3-tech as well. I just don't think Keanu Benton's a guy that you should be playing a nose tackle all the time.
Well, I certainly agree with that. I think you're much better served if you're going to just stubbornly play one person at that position. You're better served making that player Y.A. Black. But I think I just want to see him take that next step. I agree with the premise here that Nate is setting up. I do believe that Y.A. Black can be a traditional 3-4 nose tackle and a very good one at that. But he's also just shown to be very disruptive at the line of scrimmage. So just how can you continue to maximize that? The thing everyone says about Patrick Graham is that he's able to find different ways to get the most out of players and to make them look better. Okay, here's your next task with Y.A. Black. If it comes in him lining up, right over the center, great. If it involves more movement around the defensive line, I'm not going to pigeonhole him into being in one space or one spot along the line. And I hope Patrick Graham also falls in line with that.
I agree. I certainly agree here. Pittsburgh Hornets, who is the genuine deal and who is the trick pony? Ty Simpson, Garrett Newsomer, Howard, or Mason?
I don't understand what this question is.
I don't think that there's I don't think that there is a genuine deal. I don't think that there is one, to be honest with you.
I'm generally trying to okay, in the song, in the context of the lyrics of the song, how does this analogy make sense? Pittsburgh Hornets, help us so much, right? Because Genuine wrote the song Pony, right? That's where I'm starting from.
Yes.
I don't understand how we get to quarterbacks from there.
I would say, all right, who's the trick pony? Who's the trick pony here? That one's pretty straightforward.
Who's a one-trick pony? Is that the question?
I guess it's supposed to say one-trick pony. I'm just saying trick pony, dude. Who's the
you got
to figure it out.
Tripping balls right now.
Yeah, you're struggling with this one. I feel like it's open to interpretation at all times because we are answering the question. We get to decide what the rules are to the question. And I'm saying the answer is Ty Simpson is the genuine and Will Howard is the one-trick pony because he's not going to make it happen.
They're all kind of one-trick ponies.
Well, I couldn't stop thinking about the song after several one-trick pony comments. I don't know what's going on here. Shout out to Pittsburgh Hornets. You don't know what it is? It's freaking Will Howard, man. It's Will Howard.
That seems like an incendiary remark, though, in some ways. Like, is Will Howard a one-trick pony?
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a dig at him, no?
Ohio State. Yes, dude. When do I ever sit here and compliment anybody? It just doesn't happen.
You do a lot. You're far more optimistic and positive than I am on this show. Ask our 12 people watching today.
Keep it trucking here. Poke salad. Do we think Peyton Wilson is going to be the starter this year? If we get Dean, is he a pass down linebacker still? Nakobe Dean plays over Peyton Wilson all day, every single day. However, if you're signing Nakobe Dean, I don't think that you're keeping Patrick Queen, which in my head means that Peyton Wilson's still going to be the starter. I don't think you move on from Peyton Wilson as the starter. Like, him and Patrick Queen weren't drastically different last year in terms of production. Like, you're not going to be like, oh, it's time to give up on Peyton Wilson. No, if you're anybody, you're just going to give up on Patrick Queen and move on to the next project here.
Yeah, I think there is very little chance. I'd call it a 1 out of 10 that Peyton Wilson loses his starting job in the defense in 2026. And that's regardless of what happens, whether a free agent is added, a trade occurs, Patrick Queen is released, retained, doesn't matter. I think they are trying to figure out how can they best complement this guy heading into his third year, who's still on his rookie deal and has a lot of good parts to his game. He just needs to round it out and maybe be paired up with somebody who can help bring that out or fill in the gaps. So Peyton Wilson's here to stay. If Nakobe Dean is a part of this team, he's a 3-down middle linebacker in my mind, so it doesn't push Peyton Wilson off the field necessarily, but you're not going to push Dean off the field.
Yeah. Thomas, Steelers need to make non-Steelers moves this offseason. Trade for Downs, Tate, or Tyson. Draft best football player available. I disagree with the drafting the best football player available. I honestly think that the Steelers do that way too often and stop because their evaluation process is trash sometimes. Like Terrell Edmonds was considered the best player available, except for the fact that he was not. And there are a billion examples of that I just don't think that I sit there and agree with most years. However, trading up, going to get guys, doing that stuff, the non-Pittsburgh Steelers traditional moves in the draft, yeah, that part I'm all about. I think it's very un-Pittsburgh like to have a game plan going into this thing and be aggressive with that game plan. That's what I think the Steelers should adjust to, is switch it up.
Yeah, I don't want to get too bogged down in this part, but I think I do have a little pushback for this idea that this would be non-Steelers like. We talked about a guy, Devin Bush yesterday. So yesterday we talked about him, and they gave up a pretty penny to move up several spots to take him at number 10 overall just a few years ago. It wasn't in 1970 to acquire Terry Bradshaw. This was in 2018. They did that. I get it. They need to be bold. I agree. They need to be aggressive. They need to go up and get those players that are really going to be impactful. But I think they have genuinely tried to pick the best players available. They have genuinely tried to trade up for players that they believe to be their best targets. And I think there's a reason why they went back-to-back tackles, in the draft. It's not because they had only one priority going into those drafts. It's because they viewed Broderick Jones, Troy Fautanu, and Derek Harmon all as the actual best players available at the time of them picking. So I anticipate that to be the same sort of mentality Omar Khan is going through with AR2 at the upcoming draft.
Thomas has another one. And draft Harold Perkins, because the guy's a stud. I actually do like Harold Perkins a lot. Love the pick.
He was a part of my first, my mock draft 1.0.
He was.
So I agree with you 100% there, Thomas.
Jonathan, should we be working to transfer some of the league's highest paid defensive money to the offensive side of the ball? Certainly. And they already started to do that. I think a lot of it is, I think that number, the defensive side of the numbers is not skewed, but I think compared to the offense, it's skewed. Like, I don't think the Steelers have a lot of room to add money-wise to the offense. You know what I mean? Running back, maybe, but like, you're not going to pay a boatload of money for a running back. All that money is going to come when Zach Frazier and Mason McCormick and Troy Fautanu and maybe Darnell Washington and a wide receiver have to get signed, and you have to, then it's going to flip at some point. So I think yes. But I don't think it's going to be real drastic. I think wide receiver, you have to spend in, and don't be afraid to spend 20, 25 million bucks a year there, because like, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like, why? The options are good, and you need 3 wide receivers in this league. You don't just need 2 or 1 or whatever their plan is.
Yeah, I guess I agree overall. I disagree just a little bit. Like, I do think it's time that they are investing more. If they were to go out and give a Zion Johnson or some, interior offensive lineman a hefty contract, I think that would be a great step in the right direction in terms of how they need to be reallocating some of their funds. That being said, I think there are some things that kind of limit that. They have so many good offensive linemen on rookie deals. You can't extend them all until they're going into the final years of their deals. So there are some limitations in place. I also had a random thought as I was reading this, which was like, they should make TJ Watt play tight end.
Yes. Also, like, certainly, why not?
Just do that. Transfer that money to the offensive side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cam Hayward, left guard. This is now high school football. You're playing two ways, boys.
I love it so much, actually. Thomas, Oh, and draft Harold Perkins. I apologize. We already got that. Isaiah, the more I look at Jordan Tyson, the more I see GP from ball tracking to being clueless after the catch. He might be the guy. Also, like Omar Cooper Jr. I think Omar is going to fly up the draft boards if he has a good combine. Like, truly think he's going to be ridiculous. But I don't know how good his combine is going to be. That being said, he strikes me as the guy that's like, I'm going to come out here and run a 4.3 just because. And all of a sudden you're going, all right, this top first round pick. That's, that's what you're doing with this guy. That's where you're going. He's my guess for that one. Tyson does give me a lot of GP in terms of like body control and being able to go up and come down with footballs. I honestly think he might be a little bit better at this age than George Pickens was.
Hell of a player, that Jordan Tyson. I think there's so much to like about him, and it's so obvious that he's going to be a very good, if not star player at the NFL level. So I love that analysis, love that comparison. I get it. Omar Cooper feels like a hot name right now. This wide receiver class, I think this Omar Cooper rise up the stock rising right now, is another piece of evidence about how deep this wide receiver class is, because it feels like every couple of days we're talking about a different wide receiver who has stood out, whether it's from the Senior Bowl or getting ready for the Combine. Every day we get closer to this draft, there is another very talented wide receiver who people are just now getting their eyes on or taking a closer look at. I would love if Omar Cooper Jr. landed in Pittsburgh, but if they don't land him, it's not the end of the world at all.
No.
Might do them some favors if it pushes other players further down the board.
I mean that I certainly agree with. That I certainly agree with. Duff calling out Nate a little bit more here. 6'7" with quick feet and lateral movement and a 36-inch vert. I think we have to set this up, dude. I think we have to set up a Nate Moore versus Duff one-on-one in the offseason. I'm not playing because I'll blow an ACL. There's no chance. Also, 75K. There it is.
When we get this 75,000 subscribers, we'll do 5-on-5 from subscribers.
I love it.
Duff
Pittsburgh Hornets came back, by the way. Duff can build a team. A little Canadian versus Team USA here going on. A little Olympic love here. I love it so much. Well, how will you feel about when we go into the season riding that one-trick pony? I'll feel pumped up, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't.
And this is still about Will Howard? Is this?
Yes. You got it.
I've been so lost in this entire analogy. I feel so stupid. I would be okay with it if this, and I wrote about this today, if they go into the season with like Will Howard and a veteran who has NFL experience, I'm not super mad about it, because to me it is very obvious that they're bridging the gap to 2027. So it might not work. It's not going to do a lot in terms of putting them closer to a Super Bowl, but it makes it very clear that they are committed to doing this franchise quarterback search, the quote unquote right way, which is having patience and kind of muddling through a little bit.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. I said it today in my backup plan for the Steelers. I think Will gets a shot if Aaron Rodgers says, I'm out, I'm leaving. But I think that shot comes against a Drew Aller or a Cade Klubnik, and I'm not convinced he's going to win that, but I hope so. Schuleberg, to answer your question, yes, I'm still coping. It's all right.
It's okay, Chris.
We're all here for you. We're all here for you, buddy. Right, Bill. How likely is it Aaron goes to Minnesota? Big fat 0.
Oh, yeah.
Big fat 0. Big fat 0. Big fat 0.
It's Pittsburgh or nothing.
I think it's Pittsburgh or Pittsburgh. I just think it's Pittsburgh. Like it's Pittsburgh. You know, what's he gonna do? Is he go retire? He's not going to Minnesota.
God forbid he goes away.
He's not gonna do that. He's not gonna do that. The Aaron Rodgers goodbye tour didn't happen, and he's one of the players that if you knew nothing about Aaron Rodgers, you would say, oh, it deserves to happen. You want to know who knows that? Aaron Rodgers Aaron Rodgers knows it deserves to happen. That means he's going to get it. And he's not going to do it in Minnesota. It's not going to happen. He's going to do it.
I was going to say it was like a 3 out of 10.
Big fat 0, dude. Big fat 0. Big fat 0. I don't even know what to say. Like, I can't even come up with something crazy enough that I would do if Aaron ended up in Minnesota. That's how confident I am in this situation. So I will just, maybe I'll go mustache. I'll go mustache if Aaron ends up in Minnesota. That's how confident I am.
You got to throw something out if you're that confident.
I'm that confident. I'll go mustache. I will not be able to kiss my wife for at least a month because of a mustache.
I'll only make you keep it for like 2 days.
I can't go bald, dude. Yeah, I can't.
No. I just mean like you don't got to keep the mustache like the entire season, but like if Aaron Rodgers goes to Minnesota, you grow a mustache and at least 2 days on the podcast, you got to keep the mustache, preferably a week of
the mustache would have to stay until the rest of it grew in. I can't go babyface. That's not allowed to happen.
Hilarious.
That can't happen. I look way worse babyface. Way worse. At least like I'm Italian enough to have a mustache. You know what I mean? It looks weird, but it looks fine. No chance. No chance. There it is, dude. Aaron Rodgers ends up in Minnesota. Y'all are getting a mustache. And my wife's going to hate me for it, but if you're watching,
Aaron, do the right thing.
Out. She's going to be so excited to hear that one later at dinner. Be like, hey, by the way, made a bet last night or today, actually. And let's hope Aaron comes back to Pittsburgh or retires. Either one. Mario, what about re-signing Asante Samuel Jr.? Do you think that's like on the docket for the Steelers? Do you think they're even interested in it?
You know, I don't think they are. You know, I think a lot of the reason he came in and the interest that the Steelers had in him came from the previous head coach. So, yes, they need depth at the position. He's probably a very cheap contract again because he's coming off of injury still and has not played a full season since 2023.
Yep.
So, I think he could be a depth option. I don't think the Steelers have much interest. I think they're interested in adding a number 2 via free agency and maybe drafting a potential number 2, number 3 corner in the draft. Drafting someone in the draft.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way. And look, at things could change, but I think he wants to test the market, and I think that's where it starts. Is what does his market look like? That'll help the Steelers decide a lot of things. Ape, what's more likely, we land Baker Mayfield or sign AJ Brown? AJ Brown by a mile. Baker ain't going nowhere. Yeah, AJ Brown by a mile.
And AJ's going to New England, but
he is. Yeah. He is for sure. John, do you think the Steelers give out a PQ type contract to a free agent this year, or is it going to be more 2-year middle of the road type deals? So my thing with PQ is PQs was really a 3-year deal with an easy out after 2. The Steelers just got to decide if they're going to take it, because that's what it was set up as, is we'll pay him for 2 years. And then if it doesn't work out, we'll move on. I think that's how they're going to structure most of their contracts again this year. That's how they've done it for the last like 4 years. I think it's going to remain a lot of the same.
Yeah, I would anticipate them being pretty cautious. And I have a player in mind that I talked about in Puntori's playbook. Justin Sternad from the Denver Broncos is a middle linebacking name to watch. Been a special teams guy most of his career, but is a little bit of a thumper. Kind of gives me like some Robert Spillane late bloomer vibes, you know?
Yeah.
And so he apparently wants to try to go somewhere where he can get a starting shot or at least more opportunities. And that's a player you do not have to commit long-term to. He's also, I believe, 28 or 29. So 1 year, 2-year stopgap type of guy that could maybe play a very specific role. I think that's kind of what we're looking at here on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah. Duff letting us all know, I would die to be able to play another 1v1 game, but I was forced into retirement by a ruptured brain aneurysm in 2014. No, I can mail you the details. I'm fine with you sharing. Me and Duff have talked about this. Dude's an absolute legend, my friend. Appreciate you, my guy. Don't worry. We'll come up with a good team for you. I'll be in that paint. Don't even worry about it. I'm gonna blow out and I'll wear
the rec specs. And I'll get in the paint.
Why? You're gonna wear rec specs? You don't wear glasses.
Yeah, no, I'll wear rec specs.
Jacob's like, these are just for show. Actually, these are
yeah, they would
just
not help
fully
me see at all.
My mom told me that they make sure my eyes are protected, so I wear them.
I got a splinter one time in '94, and I've worn them ever since.
94, -2 years old, just out here, just splinters in the eyes. Shout out to Duff, man. Appreciate you as always, my guy. Jeremy, do y'all think Graham tries to bring Max Crosby?
I don't. Our wonderful host Noah Strackbine does.
I do. Could we put some on that too? Could Max Crosby end up in Pittsburgh? And like, if I'm right on that one, what happens there?
I don't know. I mean, I'm the one who's confident it's not going to happen. I know. I mean,
I can't have you do a must. You're going to be a dad. What if it happens right beforehand? Then your child hates you. Your wife hates you at the same time. This is just so much hatred.
They reject me. Yeah. No, I get it. It's a big risk.
Yeah, huge.
How confident am I? That's the question.
That is the question.
I think, man, I want to throw it out.
Go ahead, dude. I know you got something there. Go ahead.
Man, I can't mess up the appearance. It's for the baby. Baby, this is the moneymaker.
Are you gonna shave the head? That's what you were gonna do. You were gonna shave.
I was gonna say I would grow out a mullet.
Oh, well, I already got that set, bro. Everybody loves a mullet. Everybody.
Yeah. It feels like my Jersey thing. Where it's just something I like.
You're like, I kind of hope Max Crosby ends up. That's a win-win for me there. That's a good one. Max Crosby's gonna end up in Pittsburgh. All right. It's gonna happen.
I don't believe so. So if you have something for me, I feel pretty confident he's not gonna end up in Pittsburgh.
I'll come up with something, dude. I will come up with something for sure. Isaiah, how long until we extend Joey Porter Jr.? I think it comes after free agency, maybe before the draft. I would guess more towards training camp, somewhere in that ballpark, right at the end of mini camp type situation. That's what I would guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 months.
Yeah.
So that would right around the same timeline is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. John, over under, the Steelers make at least 3 trades up or down in the draft. I think I'm going under. I think we're going 2.
Yes. I'm just wondering with all of those, there's 3 third-round picks, but then I think it's 7 picks after round 3. Like, but
I think my thoughts on the 2 are you got to package a couple. You know what I mean? What the hell's a 7th round pick get you? Nothing.
Yeah.
Pack of brownies. Not even good brownies. You know what I mean?
Pack of brownies from Kings.
Yeah. Like not even good. Not even good. Yeah, for sure.
Two's a great. I want to say 4. But I think that's too many. I think it's way too many. I think 2 is a more realistic number.
It's a lot going on. I like that though. I like that. Good question, John. We're gonna end it off here with officially squashing grapes. Who's your top 3 free agent prospects, regardless of position, that you'd like to see signed? Also, AST Intramural League, sign me up, dude. I think we could get this thing rocking. Nobody lives. Half of us live in Pittsburgh, half of us don't. That's all right. We get it rocking. Dude,
come on.
Top 3 players overall in free agency. That's a great question. It's a really good question. Rasheed Walker.
Yes.
Go ahead. What was that?
Jaquan Brisker.
Jaquan Brisker. Good number 2. Oh, that's a tough one. Number 3 here. Quay Walker, I think, is my number 3.
I like that. I'm okay with
a lot of NFC North going on there. Too much NFC North going on there almost. Suspiciously too much, especially with Mike McCarthy. I take it all back. Nakobe Dean would be my 3. I like Quay Walker so much though.
Yeah, if they get Nakobe Dean, I think Nakobe Dean, Jaquan Brisker, and Rasheed Walker, that's a
You're broke.
That's a good free agent group. I'm okay with that.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. That's a good one. And let's finish it off here with Cubs Steelers. Best pizza place in Pittsburgh? I'm very interested to know your answer here. I know mine. I always know mine.
I genuinely don't think there's like one that is the best. Like that. Like we love Minios.
No,
but a lot of people don't
love Minios. Love the story behind Minios. No, Minios grandson, so I'm always team Minio. But
yeah, I'm biased. I do know
nasty.
Do know some of the Minio family, but like I disagree with that. As a kid who spent a lot of time.
Well, you're from Pittsburgh, dude. You don't. Your favorite pizza places are Vincent's and Minio's, dude. Just
not.
Listen, who doesn't love me in a bath of grease? Let me soak around in there with my little toys.
It can't be of any pie. It can't be. You know, my brother-in-law likes to say that there's levels. There's artisanal pizzas, and then there's like your good bar pizza types of things. You know what I mean?
So true.
You want to just like smash a pizza? I'm calling up like Pizza Perfecta. I used to live in when I went to Pitt. I used to live next to this pizza shop. I lived on top of a pizza shop called Antunes. That was $5 for a large pizza, and that was the greatest thing that ever happened to a college student. I lived next to a place called Little Nippers, and that place was
Little Nippers is good. Little Nippers is good. Hole in the wall for sure.
If you want like some good pizza pie, I think I would go to like that's not too expensive. Slice on Broadway. You had that?
Yeah, I like Slice on Broadway.
Broadway. I like the Altavia Pizzeria too. That's nearby in Bakery Square.
Altavia ain't bad either. I'll tell you.
You got some good pizza pies. Tell me some names.
I have one answer. I have one answer here. I transplant from the pizza capital of the world. Thank you very much. Okay. Correct. Pizza capital of the world. Go ahead, Google right now what the pizza capital of the world is.
No, I know you told me. Well, some people say it's Connecticut. Some people
it's not, dude. Google says it's Old Forge, Pennsylvania, and you are lying to yourself if you disagree.
Okay.
It's Rockaway Pizza is my
Rockaway slaps. I've just since they moved to their new place, it's been a little harder to get there and a little harder to get some pizza. But
ridiculous. I've had it once since they've moved. Yeah. Once you got it, because you're taking a risk. You can't call ahead. And if you're like, all right, I'm gonna order pizza at 4, and you call it 4:06, 7:45 pickup minimum. You call it 4:02, 4:20 pickup. The window's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. Rockaway Pizza all day. Omar Khan would agree with me. That's all that matters.
My favorite place closed.
What was it?
I genuinely forget the name of it. It was that place on Highland, on North Highland, near like where the Square Cafe is now.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it was a little spot. Pizza Talios or something like that, I want to say.
Yeah, I don't know, but
they made this pizza called the Green Pointer that was like a spicy pepperoni, like hot honey pizza situation, and it was just like, oh boy, Tor, we're going to dinner, baby.
And I have a mustache. Ryville, if Aaron goes to Minnesota, we get mustache merch. We actually have a mustache t-shirt, but heck yeah, I love this so much. I'm all about it. Just our faces with mustaches. Oh, that's a nightmare, but I'd be into it. All right, y'all. With that said, we're heading out of here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Before we head out of here, next week, we will be live every day, normal time, except for Monday. We are going live at 9 a.m. before we take off for Indianapolis. So make sure that you jump on 9 a.m. We'll be there. With that said, find all our work at si.com/NFL/Steelers. Hit that like and subscribe button before you head out of here. We'll be back on Monday. Enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg.